I couldn't go that first time. And then, but my mom, when she still thought that we were going, had bought me these books about the White House and was telling me about President Kennedy. And I had it in my mind that we could just go to their house, knock on the door, and visit with them for a while. So I was aware of the Kennedys. And then that fall, after I didn't get to go on that trip, and he was killed. That really, I was only 7, but I still remember that really well. And then the following year, I did get to go, and we went to Washington, D.C. And I remember it was really important for me to, when we visited the Capitol Rotunda, to touch the spot where Kennedy's casket was.
I came home from Europe and landed in Boston the day after he was assassinated. And Boston was like a dead town. It was just, nobody was out and about. And
Robert was in Dallas to a meeting and was at the airport when he heard him call for the crew of Air Force One to report to the airport, report to Air Force One. And the word came out soon that Kennedy had been shot. And I don't know if they were in flight or when he got back to Hanover, to Detroit, they found out that he'd been killed. I don't remember.
well, I heard about it on Canadian broadcasting.
He was on board the ship.
On board ship, and the station they had was the British or the Canadian station. And how many guys on that ship had been around him in the war, and the chief purser had been working with him during the war on the boat, and I was just amazed.
PT-109.
Yeah, I'm amazed.
Back to while going to Washington, Jeff always remembers going on that trip. And they're having lunch, I guess, and they weren't going to be able to do something that day unless Jeff ate his sliced tomatoes was on his plate. And
Yeah, each one of us had something different.
yeah, Mother left to go to the bathhouse. She says, "I want those tomatoes gone before I get back." She'd hardly got the door shut, and Lee and Welts was with him. Picked up those tomatoes, they're gone before she got off the step. It was that. Occam always talked about what you should do when you got there, like go to the cafeteria early so that you can get through the food lines easier. You know, telling that. I never did get to his house. Everybody's in his house and talking about how many passports they saw strewn around his floors. But I never got to Occam's house.
In Virginia?
Yeah, wherever he was living at.
I didn't either.
We were in living on Cumberland, East Rapids, when we were going to be having the funeral, and
For whose funeral?
Occam.
Oh.
We got a call from the funeral home in Jackson that they're going to be bringing the body to Eaton Rapids, and if the word hadn't gotten through yet that arrangements have been made for the cemetery, he'd download that body in the casket into our garage, and he knew where we lived at. And because Stephen hadn't showed up yet from Detroit or from Chicago, and it was mid-afternoon before Steve and what's his wife's name?
I'm trying to think.
Kim.
Kim got to our house. We called up, and he went down and made arrangements with the city for the burial, for the grave to be opened up, paid the fees and so forth. And the undertaker then agreed he'd bring the body the next day for the funeral, not bring it to our garage on the previous night.
He was hit by a car, right?
Yeah, he has a girlfriend and a girlfriend's friend. They're heading for Florida to see some property where they're going to build or something or other. And they drive by these rest stops on their side of the expressway. you gotta use the bathroom. No, neither one of the ladies had to use the bathroom. Then they did that several times. Finally, they went past the bathroom on the other side of the highway. One of the ladies said, I gotta go now. So we pulled over and parked, and the lady went across the expressway into the bathroom on the other side of the street, the expressway, and she's gone for some time and hadn't returned, so his girlfriend got out of the car and she went across, and she's gone for quite a while, so he got out of the car and he started to cross, and that's when he got hit and killed.
How old is he?
I don't know how old he was. He'd been on the tombstone there in Eaton Rapids.
I understand that he left the Ukraine when he was 18 and went into France to school, and was during the revolution in the Ukraine, Russia. So what was
He was
that?
in the White Navy,
Yeah.
and he was in the Navy in the Bosphorus when the revolution started, and all of the sailors jumped ship. And he's one of the sailors, so he jumped ship. That's when he came into,
Building in France.
went to school.
Then he went to South America.
And he worked down there for a while.
Went to school there too.
And he went to school down there, and he applied for approval to come in the United States, and he got a passport, and didn't come, so he snuck into the States, and after he got here, then he got his approval to come here after he was in the United States. How they knew where to find him to send him the approval after he got here, I don't know.
I kind of assumed it was somebody he was staying with in South America. Probably got the official U.S. postage
Could be.
or envelope, and then forwarded it on to him.
But they also had somewhere to know where to forward it. They ended up in Jackson, working for Consumers Power, and his job there was designing these tall towers for electric power. And they went to dancing school, night school in Jackson to learn dances, and that's where he met Katie. And Steve came on. I don't know where they got when they got married, but I don't know that Stephen was their relationships. I don't know.
They didn't own a car,
No.
and they took taxi cabs or buses or trains or wherever they wanted to go on trips. And in 1957, they both took driver's training and bought a 57 Chevrolet, a white one with silver trim.
And someone in white train.
Yeah, okay. And that was the first car they ever owned, and I think,
Might be the last ever owned.
and they lived in Jackson on
Bowen.
Bowen Street.
One of the kids liked to go see him because he had problems with their math. He was kind of whiz at math.
Okay.
He'd come out the house and he'd bring his guitar and sing Spanish songs with a Russian accent and English. They'd be at the house and he'd go downtown to the Kroger store and come back with a big bag of stuff in the produce department to make a salad for dinner at night. I always remember that. Do you remember that?
Big salad.
Big salad,
Yeah.
tossed salad, yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't have an awful lot of stories to tell. The stories he told really were the ones he wrote down and we received copies of in later years. And I don't know where my copy is at now. Maybe in our books in here somewhere, probably. Did you ever get a copy of his diary?
I think I did. I think I do have.
Talked about the White Navy and where he went to school and so forth. Didn't tell much about his relationship with Katie or anything like that. But they went to places like Mackinac Island, Mackinac City, by bus. I mean, you had a lot more buses in those days than now. Driving up 75 and so forth, I was astounded when I saw Greyhound buses. They were different colors than they used to be, but they're still coming up and down the expressway. The bus station in down in Gulf to Bays, I don't know if it's still there or not. They swung in behind the buildings there and by Burger King. Very tight quarters.
Muskegon still has a bus depot.
Do they?
Small, it's not really.
Yeah.
In fact, they made it bigger, but it also accommodates the city buses for the transfer. But the buses, I mean, you used to be able to get a bus maybe 4 times a day out of Muskegon, or most towns, and now they go once a day.
Used to have to go meet Rapids, and they had shortwave lines also.
Yeah.
Went to San Antonio in 50. See what that is? Dad joined the Air Force in 52, so it must have been 53. Got at spring vacation, I took an extra week off. I did my work done ahead of time, and took me on a bus. They said it's going to be a 24 hours trip. It turned out it was a 48-hour trip in Greyhound bus. And you go to Chicago and St. Louis and Tulsa, Oklahoma City, I'm not sure which, and get down to San Antonio in 48 hours.
I took the bus from Lansing to Denver and saw Robert and Jan. But when I was 9 years old, Clara took me to Chicago, and I got on a train, and went to St. Louis, and they had to change trains. A person from the Train Aid Society met me and kept me busy for a couple hours until my train was ready to leave. And went from there to San Antonio, and spent like 2 weeks, and came back to St. Louis and back to
Spring vacation plus a week. When Ron and I both went down in 54, I remember having to read Tale of Two Cities before we go, and we got back and he hadn't even started it yet. Hadn't even started it yet.
Now, when you were going down on that trip to San Antonio, did you have to keep calling your mom?
Nope.
No?
I had in fact, after she passed away, I found the sign. The whole sign on a string said my name is John E. Blatt. I'm 9 years old, and where I'm from and where I'm going. And the conductors were always real good.
Looking out for you?
Looking out for me. If I caused too much trouble, I found out that I got ice cream Sunday. So if I pestered somebody to get me away from them, here's ice cream.
Not bad, not bad.
But that was a fun trip. I rode up in the car I was in was what they call a Vista car, or
Yeah.
a double decker. And up above, you could really see good. And like where I sat, you could look down all the cars and actually see the engine, full of them. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
You still have those cars, and they advertise these trips out through the West. A lot of them go through Canada. And those types of trains. They're not cheap.
No. Go across to the Canadian National.
Have you and Sue have thought about getting an RV?
Not an RV. We thought about getting a truck camper, possibly.
It's an RV.
Okay.
Get one.
But not a built-in.
Not a motorhome.
No.
We always enjoyed the all-in-one, like a truck camper or motorhome. You get so you don't even know how to pack for a picnic, because everything you want in a picnic is right there in your camper. Truck camper would be a good way, and your pickup. How do they rate those? Are they rated half-ton, three-quarter ton, so forth?
I have no idea. We're gonna have to find out all that stuff when we eventually get around to going. We're thinking we'd like to, Sue's folks went to Alaska, took a couple of trips up there, and they camped the whole way. It was quite an adventure, so we thought we might try that sometime.
What did they take? A truck camper or something, or a motorhome? Or
No, they just had a car.
just car.
You know, they would camp in the tent.
Where'd they put the TV set at?
Yeah. It's camping. Camp.
We've had people saying, you had a TV with you? Yeah. Just like when you go in the motel, you don't say, oh, you gotta take this TV out of here because we don't want to watch TV. Take it out of here. You can't stay here if you take it.
Well, you can't camp in a hotel either.
No. What is camping? S'mores and...
To us, is in a tent. No electricity. Camping on a camp stove. Having a campfire.
You can have a
Not a lot of noise of your generator.
Well, we had generators, but didn't use them unless we didn't have power. And even then, it was generally very much limited when you could use them. Very much limited.
The bears wouldn't allow it?
No, the campground wouldn't allow it.
They're very strict.
Yeah.
That's strict. And we were like in Aztec Island, you could run a generator maybe from 8 o'clock at night until 10 o'clock at night. Then that'd be the off period.
So anyway, back to Canal Road.
Well, when I was
Anything more you?
11th grade, I painted the house on a canal
By yourself?
by myself. And for that, I got a black suit for my 12th. I could wear it in my 12th grade.
Is that the suit that there's a picture of you standing on the front porch wearing?
Yes.
Or don't you remember? Okay.
Yes. And that was what I wore at graduation and under the gowns. And I can remember my uncle Wesley Schultz died, and I went to his funeral, and Aunt Katie Schultz says, "I'm sure glad you wore your black suit." And I'm thinking, that's the only one I've got. no choice.
Mother paid Robert to paint the house, but I recall it wasn't entirely painted. I think he painted the porch area.
Because the back of the house hadn't been painted in years. So
Yeah.
I did a lot of scraping back there and painting.
I'm not sure which car he bought. He worked at
Flashes.
the Flash. He didn't have as many jobs as you and I did. Worked at Flashes. Then he worked at the jet plant one summer
That's right.
in Lansing. Then he went to work at Eaton Stamping when school started. And how'd that go now? He went to work at Fish's at Eaton Stamping, and they didn't realize he'd worked there in Lansing that previous summer, so they laid him off after about 90 days. And he had enough time in between the two jobs to get unemployment. So when we graduated from high school, he went over to Charlotte, got his unemployment check, and we left for Florida. They didn't know that he had worked enough hours or enough whatever it was to get unemployment compensation before he went in the Air Force. What else happened?
I remember going down to you mentioned the other day, going down to the 40 acres, sledding with your sleds. And I can remember we went down there and camping with the kids in the neighborhood. We had a bonfire and cook hot dogs or whatever over a fire.
The 40 acres?
Yeah, that's
What's that?
if you went where my mother lived, the canal. Across the street was Mantley's. In behind Mantley's, there was a street called Market Street.
Back from Canal Street.
And that went, now that the water plant is down there.
Sewer plant.
Sewer plant. And, but back then there was no sewer plant back there. It was just a big open, I think it was more than 40 acres. but everybody called it the 40 acres. And it was just an open field, a hill, and you could slide down and
Follow the riverbank.
follow the riverbank.
Riverbank.
And then there was, down by the water, there was big trees we used to climb up and jump off from and into the river and swim. And before I can remember when they built the sewer plant, before they started bringing sewage through it, they had a big, huge pipe, probably a 12-inch pipe, that just pumped clear water out. And we would go play in that.
It was bigger than that, it was like maybe 3 feet. About a 3 foot pipe, wasn't it?
No, like that.
How'd you get through there?
They got through, they were putting water out.
And how did you get inside, or you said you played?
No, we played in front of it, that water.
Oh, okay. When we lived on Sunrose, and they were building those streets back of us on Sunrose, the kids used to go back there and play in those storm sewer pipes. It was like the 36-inch pipes. And when the mothers found out what the kids had been doing, they were just very upset that nobody's back there assuring themselves that they hadn't been getting in there. Because they were connected to the city storm sewer system, but there's open ends and you can get dropped down through a manhole and just run back and forth in there. I don't know if they rode their bikes back there or not, but it was a pretty good sized pipe.
The summer I was in 11th grade, my sister Clara, who was in Ormond, lived in Jackson, and 100 Boy Scouts came from England, Great Britain, over to Ohio, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Michigan. And one of the scout leaders stayed with Clara in Ormond. And as they left in the fall to go back to England, they said, next year come over and see us. Well, I thought that'd be impossible. But I started thinking about it and saving my money and selling my car trading for a camera. And I was able to save enough money and get up to school with Mike North. We went to Great Britain and stayed with the Scoutmaster for a couple weeks. And we went on to France and then Italy and Switzerland and Germany and Luxembourg and Belgium, back to France, back to Great Britain. And we were gone for 3 months. That was quite I wish more kids would do that same trip.
I remember when you did that. I always wanted to do the same trip that you did.
We paid our way across on a freighter, and it was like $350 round trip. We could have flown for like 3 hours more round trip. But flying would only take you a few hours to get over there and do it, One way freighter, it gave you a little more time to
Plans you didn't get there.
plan, but enjoy that trip, And so we had a good trip. We hitchhiked around Europe, and in Great Britain you got rides with semis, or they call them lorries, and then over in France, 64 World Auto Show in Paris. And so we saw the new cars there before we saw them in the United States. And from there we went down through France to Italy. And
Switzerland.
yeah, you see it at the St. Bernard Pass, which is known for raising St. Bernard dogs. And then went out to Germany, and I went to West Berlin, East Berlin. And when we went to East Berlin, we had to empty our pockets all out and for the border crossing. And they went through our billfolds and stuff. And I had a $5 bill that I'd been there years ago. A long time ago. And I saved that $5 bill just in case I ever needed it, And that guard found that $5 bill, and he thought he found $5,000. Because he went dashing out to someplace, and he'd come back with a long face. give it back to me. It's worth about 10 marks, you know. And so we went through East Berlin and saw things there. You know, and between East Berlin and West Berlin, there was a difference of night and day. East Berlin was dark and dingy. No neon lights. The restaurants and bars were lit, but they weren't. No marquee out front, no sign out front. And back in West Berlin, it was like being in Lansing. Neon lights and people walking around, laughing, having a good time. And with the Berlin Wall, they couldn't cross. And like a few nights we slept on that wall. And then we went to Luxembourg, and we went to Belgium, and we got to Belgium. It was raining terrible. So who wants to stay in a hayfield or whatever, you know, outdoors in the rain? So just then we were walking by a police station. I thought, hey, why not ask if they can sleep in the station? So we got across to them, and we wanted to sleep, and they said, yeah, we could do that. We had to empty all our pockets out, had to leave our backpacks out, and they let us go to a cell and sleep on a wooden bed with a wooden pillow and one blanket. And it wasn't bad, you know, we slept. It was dry. So when we got back into France, we thought, hey, let's try it in France. So you can see we were in jail in Belgium and jail in France. We stopped a policeman and got across. We wanted to sleep. Wanted to sleep in a jail. And he drew us a little map and told us how to get to the jail. And we got there, and it wasn't a jail. It was a house of prostitution. So we kept on going.
Could have spent your $5. Could have spent your $5.
Yeah. And then we went back across the channel to Great Britain. I stayed a couple more weeks with Jack Hewitt was his name, and his mother and sister Irene. And just south of Manchester, in a town called Glossop.
Did you ever keep in contact with him after that?
Yeah, I did for quite a while. And then we lost contact, and I've been trying to find. His mother would be long gone now, but I thought Jack couldn't be alive yet, or his sister, but I can't find any trace of him. And then we went up to Liverpool to get our boat ride back to the States, and while we were there, we were walking by a nightclub, and heard his music, and we looked inside, and went inside the front part. We couldn't go all the way in, and it was a group of singers, long hair. They were called the Beatles, and we saw them, and okay. We were kind of dumbfounded with that long hair, and one is a drummer, and one played something else, and okay. We got our boat ride back to Boston, and on the way we found out that Kennedy was shot. Then the following, that would have been in November, and then in January, being home in the States, we were watching Ed Sullivan, and he introduced this new musical group from Great Britain, the Beatles.